Hi, so I just wanted to talk about how to put cats or dogs into a kennel in the clinic and how to take them out. Unfortunately, I don't have kennels at home, so that's something I can't really demo for you. We have had some, I have some videos that I can share and I will put a few up, but I wanted to just kind of talk to you about what I think is important about putting cats in or dogs in and out of kennels. So for one thing, so if we're going to be putting a cat or a dog into a kennel, we want to be careful about what type of kennel we select. So obviously a big dog is going to need a big kennel. A small dog or a small cat can use a smaller kennel. If we have a fractious cat, I prefer my fractious cats to be at waist height or like a waist height kennel. I don't want them on the floor. That's my personal preference. Other people might have other opinions, and that's fine. Respect what they want. But for me, that makes the most sense to me. I think it's easiest to maneuver a fractious cat from waist height because I want to keep bringing them up close to my hip, right, when I'm carrying them. Of an angry or aggressive dog, however, those guys I want on a floor level regardless of size. That's because I can leave them attached to a leash. I can use a regular clip leash as a slip lead by putting the leash, like the clip part through the handle and slipping it around their neck. And then I can use that clip to clip it to the kennel door. That way, when it's time to remove them, I can just unclip that leash. It's secured to the door, so I can unclip it and I can just walk that dog right out of the kennel and deal with them outside of the kennel. That's gonna be safer for me. That's gonna be safer for them. So once we have our kennel selected for where we're gonna put our animal, we need to start looking at what we want to put in the kennel with the animal. So if it is just a short-term residence, I'll often just put a towel in so that they have something cozy to sit on instead of the stainless steel bottom. If they're going to be staying for a long time though, I like to get it really set up well for them. So that means I put newspaper down to absorb any urine. I put down a slotted mat or a rubber mat where the urine can drip through if they do pee their beds so that they're not just sitting in a puddle. And then on top of that, I like to put a nice cushy blankie or some towels. Pro tip, cats love knitted blankies, so I like to give knitted blankies to cats. And then if it is a cat, I'm going to want to have a litter box in there ready to go. And I'm going to have a food and water dish, but I'm not going to have it in the kennel before the animal is. I'm just going to have them ready to go on the side. So once I have those things assembled, I'd be able to go and get my animal to put into that kennel. When I'm putting the animal in, I'm going to carry them like I showed you carrying Charlie to the side. I'm going to carry him right in. I'm going to place them into the kennel and I'm going to close the door behind them. I try to put them closer to the back of the kennel because if they are A, aggressive, or B, really friendly, they're probably going to try to get back out. So I try to put them as far back in the kennel as I can, and then I just close that door behind them. If it's a fractious cat, I close it immediately. I let the cat calm down a bit before I try to put in the food and water. If I try to put that in right away, the cat's going to attack me. It's going to try to come and get at my hands. If I let it calm down for a bit, I can come back later. I can open up the kennel door and squeak those little things in, and they hopefully will just kind of grumble but not actually move. So that's my goal with a fractious cat. So once we have the animal in the kennel, I want to make sure that I have a kennel tag or kennel label on there. A kennel tag should have information about the animal. It should have their name. It should have their species, a description, sex, age, those kind of things, like the signalment. I also want to write on there if the animal came with any personal belongings. Did they have a leash? Did they come with a carrier? Did they have a blankie or a toy that was special to them that they brought? Those things need to be documented on there. So now it's time to remove the animal from the kennel, either because they're going home or because they are having a procedure done. So how I want to remove an animal from the kennel is I want to first, remember our very first rule, before we open any kennel or carrier door, we want to make sure that all the doors, all the windows are closed. We want to cut off any escape routes for that animal. So once we've ensured that that's the case, we can go ahead and assess the pet. So I'm looking to see, is it friendly? Is it up at the front of the kennel trying to get my attention? Is it wagging its tail for a dog? Is it maybe like happily meowing to me as a cat? Those are happy animals. So those guys, when I open that kennel door, I'm probably going to need to brace the door a little bit because they might be trying to leap out into my arms. If I've assessed the animal and they're scared, so they're maybe cowering at the back of the kennel, they're shrinking their bodies to try to appear small, their ears are more back, dogs are giving us the side eye, cats maybe have really dilated eyes, those guys are ones that we want to go really slow with. And lastly, of course, if we have fractious animals, we're going to handle those guys differently. So a fractious animal, when I've opened the kennel door, I'm going to use a towel and gloves with a cat to try to get them out, or with a small dog. And if we have a dog that's in the lower kennel with like the leash attached, I'm just going to unclip the leash to bring them out. So once I open the door, my first step after I open the door is remove anything that's going to spill. If I have animals that end up I'm struggling with, I don't want to spill the water and the food all over myself or the animal. So remove those things, get them out of the way, and then we can focus on the animal. So how I want to remove an animal, I can place a towel over them if they're scared or angry, and I want to turn their bodies so that their heads are facing the back of the kennel and their bum is facing me. If they're in a waist height kennel, I can just scooch them forward. I can grab them onto my hip and carry them with that 1, 2, 3 method with our fingers, right? Where the feet are where the feet are in the gaps between my 3 fingers. I can carry a cat or a dog that way, a small one, and have them secured against my hip. So like in that video where I showed you holding Charlie, where he's kind of medium attitude, getting crotchety with me. And then if it's a big dog, obviously, you can just open the door and let them walk out once you have that leash on them. So an angry dog will have the leash on it already. A dog that you need to get onto a leash, you're going to need to use the loop leash. So I did record a video previously, if you remember, with Bella, how to use that loop leash. So same kind of practice in a kennel. It's just that you're working in a kennel. You need to brace the kennel door so that they don't get out or like burst out of the kennel at you, and then have just your one arm going in with that leash. And then I'm just trying to think if there's anything else. Oh, actually, and I have one other note for cats. So cats that are fractious or scared even, and they're in a kennel, sometimes the easiest way to get them out of the kennel, if you're taking them out of the kennel and putting them into their carrier to go home, I'll just open the carrier door and I'll put it in the kennel with them, and often they'll walk right in. Their kennel is a safe space to them at this point. It's not at home. At home, animals never want to get into their kennels, but at the vet clinic, they do. So we can just open that kennel or that carrier door, put it in front of them, and often they'll just run right in. If they don't run right in, you can use a glove to kind of coax them in a little bit, especially if it's an angry cat. Make sure you have that glove. I just kind of push their bums. I don't give them another option. The only place they can go is into that carrier, and I just push their bums until they go in. So that's a great way to get a cat into a kennel, or a carrier, I mean, if they're going home. When we're finished, okay, so if we need to get a cat into a carrier and we just did a procedure with them, so they're on the table, again, open the kennel door or the carrier door, leave it open on the table, turn the animal so that their head is facing into the carrier, they'll often run right in. So cats are really great for that. If you do have a cat that won't go in, you can try pushing on their bum a little bit to get them into the kennel. If that doesn't work, I put the kennel, I turn the cat around so that their bum is facing the carrier door, and I back them in. If that doesn't work, my old cat was terrible about getting into carriers. I put the carrier on the floor with the door facing the ceiling. I have the door open. I hold the cat and I put them in bum first, and I just lower them into the kennel, close the door. That's the best way to get a cat in that is being really difficult for you. If you're trying to force a cat into a kennel head first, they're going to like starfish and you're not going to be able to get them in. But if you put them in bum first, they often don't even realize anything's happening until they're in, and then they're stuck, right? So that is, I'm just trying to think if there's anything I've missed. That's my discussion about putting animals into and out of carriers and kennels. If you do have any questions, make sure you do please ask. I'm available in the virtual classroom and in the chat. Thank you so much.